Thanks, Alison. This is Helen. I'm the manager of the reading list team here at the University of Auckland, and I have with me Adam Price, who is a reading list coordinator. He's one of 3 members of my team and we work only on Talis lists and digitisations. Adam?
Thank you, Helen. So some background information about us for those of you who are not familiar. The University of Auckland is New Zealand's largest university. As a library, we are running the Alma library management system, and we also have the Primo discovery layer. In 2015, we implemented Talis. We're using both digitized content and the reading list system. And we have managed to rack up quite a few reading lists, over 5,000, although not all of those are currently live.
We have around 1,200 that are live at the moment. We do roll over each semester. We just started doing that in 2017. And we roll over a draft copy to a draft copy. And it's up to the academic to come in and publish that draft copy.
And as far as reviews go, we're just under 6,500 reviews in. So I guess we've had a fair bit of time to have a play around with that and work that into our process. So what are we using reviews for? Our 3 primary things that we're using it for are acquisitions. So we will make decisions, and then we will primarily put those decisions through Gobi. So Gobi is our vendor for purchasing, so we'll get purchase information, and we'll also communicate through to our acquisitions team using that platform. We'll make access decisions, we'll move stock around, and we'll do that through Alma. We'll create requests, and those requests then flow on to other departments and they'll action them. We also communicate with our academics via reviews. So at the end, we'll send a nice little message. Anything that's wrong, we'll try and highlight to them, let them know what's happening. And we'll also communicate between team members. We'll do that using the outcomes so that we can read all those notes, which we'll have a look at shortly. So this is our basic workflow. The reading list team sits at the center. We're the brain. We make all the decisions. And reviews acts as the collector. It's the funnel. It funnels all the information from the different platforms and allows us to see that at a glance. We'll also bring in some information from some internal sources like student records, cataloging, and we'll consult some external sources like Amazon or Gobi. And we'll process all that information, we'll apply our internal policies, and then we'll make decisions. And we'll export those decisions through various platforms so that things get bought, stock is moved, any digitizations that need to be done are actioned, and any comms that need to be done with our academics, that happens as well.
All our reviews are pushed through manually. We haven't switched on the automated review option. That's when someone publishes a list, it automatically goes into review. I've chosen to stick with the manual system because I can control the workload for the team and also keep an eye on what's happening. It's working out for us at the moment. We did think about switching over to the automated option, but for this semester we've stuck with the manual option, and I would run a list every day and then sort by lists published and then push those ones through to review.
So in terms of actioning those reviews, our team is Helen, who is our manager, and then myself and 2 others, and we're the coordinators. So we will pick up those reviews and we'll work on them using a portfolio-based system. So I will handle a few faculties, someone else will handle another few faculties, and we sort of partition that out based on the workload that those faculties present for us. Okay, so I'm going to do a live demo, and this is going to be what I would normally do if I got a review. So it's not necessarily the best way to do it. It's the way that works for us, and that will be different for different people. Okay, so this is our version of Talis here. And if I call up reviews, you can see we've got quite a few reviews. We've been very busy this semester. The basic way that we like to do it is we'll go through and we'll assign to ourselves the lists that we want. So today we're going to be using this review here. This is one of my other ones here as well. And so I'll assign both of those to me. And then I can filter that information. So I guess it acts like a work queue system that you can figure out what you're going to do today. There we go. So I have two things to do. We're going to work on this review here. And first thing first, for those of you who are not familiar with how this looks, before you can start doing things, you need to start the review. That's going to shift its status from requested into started. And before I get started, I like to have a little look at the list. So I'm going to open the list. And I better be logged in, that'll help. There we go. And so I'll have a little look through. I can see it's a decent list, certainly not one of our longest lists. Our longest list is something like 700 items, so that's good we don't have that today. And I will check the review history. This is really important because I don't want to be reviewing every list every day. We have some lists that are published 2-3 times a day, every day, and so we only want to be working on the stuff that we need to do for that day. The other issue we have is that a lot of people will repurpose their lists, and they'll change the semester time period. So they might have a semester 1 list and they'll just change it for semester 2, and we need to be able to identify that so that I know what I'm looking at when we flick back into reviews. So this list, I reviewed it yesterday, so we should only have things to do that have changed since then. Okay, so you can see these little pink new alerts. Those are the ones we're going to be focusing on, and these little exclamation ones, these are things that have changed since yesterday, quite a lot of those. So the filters on the left-hand side, these are your friend. These are how we efficiently work through the reviews. And the first thing that I normally do is check the library notes. Our academics have become quite accustomed to using library notes. So they'll leave lots of messages in there for us. So it's important that we have a look at those. And you can see we've got a new one here, and it's got a note for the library. And this one is indicating that they would like pages 1 to 20 digitized. So we would encourage our academics always to place their own digitization requests, but if they ask us, if they say that, we will go and do that for them. There could be a few different reasons why they couldn't, they weren't able to do that themselves. So scoping with our filters, I'm going to first filter by new items, and I'm going to place an additional filter on there, and I'm really wanting to focus on books first, so I'll apply that. We've got 3 items to work on. If I had a much bigger list, I'd probably be also adding some importance filters. You can see we've got 2 items that have no importance defined and 1 that is textbook. Our textbook is our top level importance rating. That means that everyone in the class really should be reading most of that book. The essential resource, it's essential for them to utilise it, but we might only put one 3-day copy available, or we might have an ebook. Further resources, as long as we have something in the system that's good enough for us. If something has no importance to find, then by default we will treat that as a further resource as well. So let's work on our textbook first. And as you can see, we've got 102 students that need to utilise this book. So we'll need to make sure for our textbook importance, we're having about 2 copies on a high demand collection for this. If we can, we'll try to get a ebook. So I'm going to use this little link down here, Gobi. I think you can customize this depending on which provider you're using. We use Gobi, so if I open this.
Yes, you can. You can tailor that based on your preferences. So that is something that we can work to set up for you. Just when you finish this section, Adam, the team at AUT have just asked, would you show them how you got to the review history of the list again, please?
Sure.
Sorry.
That's right. No, it's fine. Okay, so I can see from here that this is the physical, the paper binding book, and if there were an ebook, it would probably be there'd be a related record here that I could click into. Helen is a big proponent searching by keywords, so she likes to do lots of keyword searching just to make sure she's extra diligent about that. I prefer the ISBN route. If I was skeptical that maybe I hadn't pulled up everything, or maybe Gobi was telling me fibs, then I might do some deeper searching for this. Okay. Just flicking back into reviews, there is also the availability information down here. Okay, and I can tell by at a glance I've got 1 copy available, but this depending on your setup and depending on what discovery layer and library management system you're using, that could be a bit different. I wouldn't rely on that. I would probably go into the catalog or have a look at your library management system and just check. I think a big trap that we can have is that the book might be lost, or it could be out, although it's available. Lots of different things tricky things could happen here.
Can I just interrupt there as well? To make sure that availability shows up there, you need to have either the LCN showing, which is brought through from our ALMA system, or have the ISBN in the metadata and run a book metadata refresh, and that should link it through to your catalogue and get that availability to show up.
Okay, so I need to do some work here. This is a textbook. It's a high importance to us. I wasn't able to secure an ebook. It didn't look like we had one available. So I'm going to copy this control number. And for Primo sites or ALMA, this is either your ALMA PID or the MMS ID. And I'm going to shift into ALMA. This is also the new user interface, so anyone who's not used to this might be a bit shocked by the colors and stuff. And I'm just going to look for a physical item search, which shows me I have got 1 copy of this book. It is just a normal standard book in our main collection. So I'm going to want to do a couple of things. I'm going to request this. And I'm going to do a temporary move request. We have all our high demand collections on temporary moves because at the end of the period they go back to being normal collections. I'm going to select the location, which is our general library, and our destination is going to be to our short loan. We've got an item policy of 2 hours for these books, and we put a due back date in. So when it gets to this time next year, the due back date will kick in and that book will come off short loan, or we'll amend it and keep it on there.
I'll just also interrupt again. We found using these move requests in Alma to be the most efficient way to contact all our locations. As we have 11 locations, we didn't want to be sending spreadsheets or emails. So if we found that this seemed to be the easiest way, it generates a request at the other library, at the lending library, and when the due back date hits the 9th of April 2018, a new request will be generated to move it back or restore it back to its original location.
Okay, so I've submitted that and that's taken care of. I can kind of clear that out of my mind. Someone else will take care of it and they'll action that, or they'll get back to me if there are any problems. You'll also see that there is this addition highlight, and if I click on here, this is actually a fantastic resource. It'll show you if there are any new additions and whether they're in your library. 2009, I'd probably say that's probably a reprint rather than a new edition, given that our copy is 2008. But I don't always use this information. If it's a textbook, I'll be inclined to give it a look, but for further resource, I probably wouldn't go that far. Okay, so we are going to set an outcome, and our outcomes are configured as so. So we tend to use existing access sufficient if everything's hunky-dory, or if we need to purchase something, we'll place an order. We very, very rarely have to use not available, so that's quite good. So we have transferred the stock here, and we're going to do another step as well, which I will document here. So we've transferred to our short loan, and I'm also going to purchase another copy. So I'm going to say purchased 1 times extra. I'll save that, and we get our little tick. So in here, I'm going to add a note back in Gobi, and I'm going to ask our acquisitions team to please purchase 1 times additional copy for 2-hour short loan, and we always put our code. So for this course is Talis 101. And then we'll shift that into a folder, and that folder gets checked daily by the acquisitions team. So this is just our way of really managing that communication. Okay, all done. Just for that question that we were asked before for reviews, when you're in your list, you've got this little reviews menu item. So to get into reviews, we click on there.
Yeah, I think they wanted the review history from the list.
Oh, okay. Okay, so if you're looking at the review history, you have to be logged in, and I think you have to be having the admin permissions available to you. You can see the review history. I think that was the question that was asked.
Yes, it was. Thank you very much, Adam.
Okay, so moving on with our review, we've done one of our new items. I'm just going to reset that and readjust our filters a little bit. And I can see that I've got 2 more books there. This one here, you can see there's a URL provided. This sort of alerts to me that this has probably got an ebook already in it. So I actually would like to go and have a little look at that. So I'm going to just copy this and flick into our reviews. And another way that you can speed things up a bit is to group by type. This is very, very helpful. At a glance, I can see that there's something wrong here. I've got an article and I've got no online resource button. So if I open that, I can see that, oh, there is a link there, but something's gone wrong. I can just give that online resource button another tick, save that, back into my list, regroup them by type, and now we have a whole lot of online resource buttons, so I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so I'm looking for this book, and again, no online resource button.
I should just say that Adam did a Control F to find that on the page.
Sorry, I'm a big Control F person, so I'm Control F-ing around the entire screen. Okay, so we've got a web address, and I'm going to edit that, just like I did before with the article, except I'm going to tick this one. And I'm also going to check where this link goes. So we've placed a lot of importance into our reviews workflow about link checking, and I know that's not something that every library or every institution is interested in, but we've found that that is really helpful for getting academics on board to justify, I guess, using the system, because it's an added service that we can provide, and of course students really like that. So we've got an ebook for this. It's on JSTOR, so I know that this is unlimited and would be suitable for suitable access for this book. So I don't need to do anything further with this. So I'll just select an outcome as existing access sufficient.
We usually edit the metadata from the public list view because we find it's faster than editing from the review metadata option.
Yes, so if I skip to the next one, I could also edit this here by clicking on the edit resource. And I get the same thing that I had before. I could mess around with metadata, I can save it. But there is a bit of a delay, and since I've always got those other screens open, if you've got two screens, this is actually a lot easier as well. It's just my preferred method is to go into the actual list. Okay, so this one is has no importance rating, so I can do this pretty quickly, and I know that we've got one copy available somewhere in the system. The item is in place. I don't need to do anything about that. I'll just mark it as being existing access sufficient.
And those outcomes are customizable for each tenancy. Yeah, we changed ours halfway through.
Yeah, and I'd add to that that's very usual, Helen. As people start using and understanding what they want for the outcomes, they want those tweaked. So again, if anybody would like to revisit the outcomes, then raise the support ticket and the team will work with you.
Okay, so we've done a lot of work on the new items, so I think it's time we have a little look at the items with changes. There are a lot more of those, and you'll see that we've got those new items. A few of those are included here. I believe that's because I've actually edited those after the review was initiated. But these little exclamation mark ones down here, they're what we're concentrating on. And I'm going to apply a few more filters. I'm not really interested in the articles because at this point, I'm going to be just focusing on physical materials really. We'll deal with articles in a minute. So chapters and books are what I want to have a look at. Now, there's no real easy way to do this. You'll notice that some of them have got lots of pink markers and some of them don't. And some of these alerts are useful to us and some of them are not as useful. This alert here, that the reason that it's included is because the student numbers have changed. So I've changed this from 101 students, where it says previously 101, and now it's 102. So it's not really important to us today. It might be important if they had changed from 100 to 200. The other issue at our institution is that these numbers are estimates, so we build them into the hierarchy upload, and we do that once a year. So those numbers are not necessarily going to be accurate. We tend to actually check most course student numbers every time we do a review. That could be different, and it depends on how important those numbers are going to be as to whether you think that the numbers increasing a few students is going to be something you need to pay attention to or not. So I can skip through these ones quite quickly, and it is quite easy to get fatigued, I guess. You're checking, if you've got 300 articles to check, which I routinely do, and someone changes the student numbers, I'll have to check all 300 of those articles. So I can click through quite quickly, and just, I only really care about notes to library that have changed, a textbook or importance rating change, not so much the student numbers because we're already looking at that, and again, not so much the additions. The additions are something that will cause the alerts to continually flag each time it is reviewed. So if you're on your third review of this list in the week, you will want to skip through these quite quickly. However, this one here has got a importance rating change, so we need to take quite a good note of that. This one has changed from none to further, which is quite common for us. And in this case, we wouldn't actually need to do anything because those two are the same. If it had changed from textbook down to essential resource, which is our second level tier, we again wouldn't do anything because we're already providing textbook level access. That's our highest level access. If someone then goes and drops it down and says, oh, actually it's not that important anymore, we're not going to go and do a lot of information there. You can also see down the bottom here, there are some notes. So you can see this is a note from March this year, and we can see there was an unlimited and that note here, and Rose has placed that note to indicate that there was an unlimited ebook. So actually that's quite useful because I don't see any URLs here in this item, so maybe the academic bookmarked just the book, and we might want to go and have a little look at that. By the way, our catalogue has a unfortunate thing. We've got our Library of Congress URLs coming through, but they are not actually ebooks, they're just table of contents links. So I'm going to control find just to skip straight down there, and I can see, okay, we've got no online resource button. I'm going to shift in here and I see the issue. The issue is we've got two URLs. One of them is useful and one of them is not. So I'm going to edit the metadata. I'm going to remove that table of contents. It's not helpful for us. And I'm going to enable the online resource button for our Alma link, which should go to our ebook, but we'll confirm that afterwards. Okay, let's have a look and see where we're going. We've made a commitment that we will check all the licenses around our ebooks because it's something that's quite complex. I don't expect academics to understand the intricacies of ebook licenses, one user, two user, non-linear. They don't really understand that. So it's an important thing for us as we transition from primarily print to primarily electronic resources that we do check the licensing on that. So now I know that Taylor and Fro are platforms that allows unlimited users. It's a great platform. So we will use this. We've provided extra access that the students didn't have before, and alternatively to using that Alma link as well, I will mention that these DOIs can be used as well. And something that you might want to think about doing is doing a lookup, and that will pull through information from Crossref, and that might help tidy up some of your metadata as well. So we'll just make sure that is now on the DOI, and always double check. I've been burnt a couple of times by not checking my DOIs. They don't always work. That's not our fault, that's not Talis' fault, it's just that the vendor hasn't enabled that, that endpoint link. So this is working quite well.
And always check the blue online resource button appears as well.
Yes, absolutely. That blue online resource button has become something that the students look for here, and if it's not there, they might get a bit panicky and not really know what to do with it. So I'll give this another importance rating, existing access sufficient. I might say something like ebook. So just on those notes that we've picked up from here, you can also scope them to just this item. So that's just this instance. This is my note that I've put here. But if I change it back to all instances, that means this particular book that was used on other lists, I can also access those notes, and that's useful because I honestly didn't know that we had an ebook for that, and I picked that up via the note that my colleague has left here. So that is more or less what I would do in terms of physical items and reviews. And then as part of our process, we always like to go and have a final look in the actual list, and we will organize by type, and we use a particularly nifty little extension, which is called link clump.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I'm highlighting all those links there, just the online resource buttons, and I'm going to release that. This is a right click select I've done. I'll release, and I'll get all of the links opening up in the tab here. And so I will go through and I'll check all the links, checking the, looking for the download button. Basically, we've learned which platforms have issues and which don't, so you might have to accumulate that knowledge. Looking for PDF buttons again, making sure there are proxies in the URL. You can get quite ruthless with it if you've got quite a lot to get through, and you can get through them quite fast, actually.
Really fast, yeah.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because we were looking at articles, and actually I've picked up that this is an ebook. So we've got a conflict there. The resource type is not correct. And we have a pretty big issue here in that it is a limited user access ebook. Only one person can use this at a time, so we need to do something about that because that's not appropriate for this for 100 students. So I'm going to have a look for that. It can be challenging to find that, by the way, because you don't necessarily know where this has come from if you've opened all those up, but you can see what was next to it, ideology. So I can go back and I can see that somewhere in this list there'll be something about that, and I know it's this one here. I've also got not much metadata here really, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up this title in our catalog, and if I shift into reviews and find this, I can do a little search as well. This is a handy way of finding things if you can't find them, but because no metadata was supplied, it's not going to be in there. So I know that it's 11, there we go. And unfortunately, everything's not here that we want. We'll need to really enhance that metadata. So I'll do a search. And it's this one here, and you can see we've actually got two uOnline records. If I open this one, there's our EBSCO book, that's our one user license, and if I check down here, oh look, we've got an Alga Online ebook. So I'm going to grab that because I know Alga Online is unlimited user model, and I know that they want chapter 11. That's what they've put in their chapter reference. So we try and deep link if we can, or go at least as far as we can in terms of linking, so students don't have to click through too much. And I'm going to open up this metadata. Now there are a couple of other things. I don't really like to change this article title well, actually, we are going to change it to chapter. It's definitely a chapter. I don't really want to change this because the academic has put that in there. They know what they're looking for. If I go changing the titles, they might get lost. They may have put something in a course book. They may have sent an email out. So let's not do that. I will, however, import all this information. I'm going to look for the control number, the local control number here. And I need to do this in a particular sequence so that I don't lose anything. I'm just going to pop that in there, and then I'm going to copy this title. And now I'll initiate an LCN lookup. Great, we have perfect data, fantastic. And I'm going to add this as a chapter. So I'll make that a chapter. I'll pop that title that they put in. I might change this typo. I don't think they meant to have that. And I'll put that back to book. And I'm going to pop in our extra web address, if I can find it. There we go. I'm going to copy that web address from our unlimited user ebook. And then we'll pop that in there and set the online resource button to make sure you're choosing the correct one, because this one has, the bottom one has come through from the record import, and the top one is the one that I've just popped in there. Okay. Fantastic. So you can pick a lot up from reviews, and you also need to supplement that with looking at your actual list. Okay. That is that's more or less what I had to show everyone for my demonstration. So we'll just hop back through into our presentation.
So we didn't initially start out doing reviews. We initially started out using the reports that are available in the admin side of reading lists. And we had lots of spreadsheets, and we had separated them by faculty, and everyone was working on their spreadsheet. But it started to get a bit messy and a bit overwhelming for everyone. We couldn't track who was doing what some of the time. So we made the decision to trial using reviews for every single list as it is published, and we've found that to be the best way to do it for us. I still use reports. I have a couple of little bookmarks with different reports, so if anything new is added that we don't have in the library catalogue, I can get onto that straight away. I run that a couple of times a day, and I just modify it each day. And I also want to know what textbooks have been added, so I run that each day and just update the bookmark every day with a different date.
Yeah, absolutely. I think reviews are definitely worth it in the long term. There is some upkeep required. You have to be resourced. You have to have someone that's going to check them basically every day, especially if you have a large amount of lists, because the academics will begin to rely on you actually doing that, and they'll expect you to be quite snappy. So you can't let them pile up, or you'll be overloaded with them. But as Helen's just said, those reports, the combination of reviews and reports has actually worked very, very well. And we've kind of fine-tuned that to quite a good point at the moment. It's also important that you don't just isolate yourselves to reviews 2.0 to the console. It's a fantastic platform. It really lets you see everything at a glance. There are things that you can't see elsewhere. I think the additions information would be very, very hard to replicate. It would be hard to do that otherwise. So that's a fantastic feature. But you also need to be pulling in your other resources. You need to be looking at your lists as well in order to deliver that high quality service. And I think everyone's going to be different, and the way that we do things is slightly different to other people. We haven't taken advantage of some features. We don't really use the list stages because we've taken the route or the model of
Well, one person looks after everything.
One person, yes.
Yeah, so Adam would look after all the reviews for the business faculty, and he would also go in and look at the digitisations, and he would also place all the orders. So we don't really use the stages for ordering or anything like that. You go into the review, you complete the review, you order everything, you'd work on the digitisations that might be associated with it, and then you can close that review until the next time it's published and I push it through again.
And I think the just using reviews as a work queue, as a way of structuring it, a way of your team knowing what they're doing at any point in time, having some oversight over what is happening is actually really useful as well.
Yeah, for me as the manager, it's really useful. I can go in and see, you know, who's getting overwhelmed, do they need help, assign other people to pick up some stuff. You know, we sometimes have a lot of digitisation requests from one particular faculty, so we can, you know, give and take on what's happening. Yeah.
If anyone would like to discuss anything in detail, if you have any, I think we've got time to answer questions here today, but if you'd like to have a big discussion with us, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're always keen to hear other people's experiences and see what they're doing, and if there's a way that we could be doing something better, because I think that there's definitely room for improvement for all of us.
That's it.
Thank you both very much, really informative, and yeah, thank you for being so open actually about exactly how things work at University of Auckland and taking us through your workflow. I thought the demo, Adam, was really useful. I'm sure many others did as well. As you say, has anybody got any questions that you would like to pose to Helen or Adam at this point? I'll give people a few moments to type. Of course, any questions which come to you afterwards, again, don't hesitate. I'm sure, as Helen and Adam have both shared their email addresses, you can send them through, or if you forget and you just want to be able to contact them quickly, then you can also raise a support case, and my team will put you in contact with each other as well. We will be making this video available for others if you'd like to revisit it. So we've got Southern Cross saying thank you, that was great. We'll need to look at the recording again. So they'll work through that recording and no doubt raise any questions they might have.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, I don't think any other questions are being raised at this point. So thank you both again ever so much for your time. It may well take us a day or two to get the recording shared, but I know that we'll be doing that over the next couple of working days. And I wish you all a lovely evening. Thank you.
Thanks, Alison.
Thanks.
Bye.